JPMorgan just had an announcement, and will the stock market continue to crash lower? And are we now entering a period where good news is actually bad news out here for stocks? We can see this morning, Tesla is down another $2.88 after being down $22 yesterday. We see the dollar index is also lower out here this morning, down 17 cents on the session. We take a look at gold. Gold is also down, but I do believe gold is going to try to make its way right back up here towards all-time highs in the market. But let's not forget, we still have a lot of economic news out here this morning. We take a look at the fear and greed index. We are now sitting at 53. We ticked up 2 ticks overnight, and we'll see, will we be able to get back into greedy territory today? Now, before we talk about JPMorgan, let's talk about this. Could this be what the market is doing? Are we seeing a rotation underway where small caps are going to start to get some of the love out here? We saw yesterday the Russell 2000 was up huge, 3.59%. And right now in pre-market, it's appearing that it may gap up another 1%. However, let's talk about what could put a damper on that. And that would be the fact that we do have some economic news coming out here at 8:30. We have the PPI data coming out. And then let's not forget, 10 a.m., we have preliminary consumer sentiment, followed by preliminary inflation expectations. Now, we all know, if we zoom this back, even though we broke above the recent high, the Russell 2000 is nowhere near all-time highs in the market. Now, we come over and look at the diamonds, so the Dow Jones, it's very close to all-time highs. It's trying to join the cool kids clubs with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Will today be the day that the Dow goes rocketing up and goes ahead and gets to join the cool kids club, or are we going to see it come a little bit lower? And I think a lot of this is going to hinge on that news that's going to be coming out here in just a bit. Now, if we look right here, JPMorgan announces profit soared, but Jamie Dimon warns that inflation and interest rates could stay high. Well, I know Jamie Dimon is saying rates could stay high, but look at the Fed watch tool. We're seeing that they think the Fed is going to start to aggressively cut rates. And I've warned you guys about this time and time again. When the Fed aggressively cut rates, this is not normally good for the stock market, because the Fed never cuts out of the goodness of their own heart. Now, if we come over and look at NVIDIA, right here in pre-market, NVIDIA is up 68 cents. But I want to take a look at some of the banks. We look at JPMorgan. It's actually down after earnings, down 1.1%. We take a look at Wells Fargo as they had earnings as well, down 5.62%. We take a look at Citigroup. Citigroup is essentially flat out here in pre-market. But then we come over and look at the KRE, the regional banking ETF, and we see that's up 13 cents on the session. KRE had a very strong day out there yesterday, because keep in mind, when the Fed starts to lower rates, that is going to favor the troubled banks out there. So as we come over and look at the volatility index this morning, we see we're down 20 cents on the session. So right now, we're not seeing any signs of fear in the market. So should we really be concerned with what we saw out here yesterday? We look on the 30-minute chart, you can see big down day out here yesterday, one of the largest ranging days we've seen in quite some time. Now, one thing to note, if you look at the MACD indicator, it looks like it's starting to try to base out down here. We'll see if we get a bounce. You also look, this could be part of a bear flagish pattern. Here would be the flagpole. We have the flag right here, and we'll see if we resolve to the downside. What I would caution you guys on, though, look at the minus development area within the profile. This is going to be an area I want to heavily focus on today. One, we can use it as a target, but two, if price gets up there, we can look for rejections up and around that price point. Now, the bottom of that minus development area will come in at 495.12. The upper part of that will be 495.00. Now, if we look at value area low, that's essentially near the lows of yesterday at 490.74. The point of control is up here at 492.61, which we are currently trading below. And then value area high is really right up here towards the upper part of that minus development area at 495.57. But what happens if we get a strong rally today? Maybe the news kicks off another rally and we can clear above the minus development area. Well, if you look, we have a huge minus development area right above us as well. And this area would provide the secondary target I would want to focus on. And that's anywhere from 498.43 all the way up here towards about 501.16. Both of these areas could act as magnets, but also be on the lookout for potential reversals. So if you see us coming up if you see the NASDAQ come into this area, watch on the smaller time frames. Are we seeing signs of reversals taking place? We come over here and look at the NASDAQ on the 4-hour chart, and you can see big move down, and we've basically done nothing more than go sideways overnight. Now, are we going to be able to spike down and essentially hit this untested value area high at 20,340.25? And I want to focus on some of the minus development areas in the futures markets as well. We already have the big one marked off over here, but I think this one has a better chance of being hit today. And that minus development area comes in anywhere from 20,561 to about 20,580. Now, when we look at this, we are currently still trading below value area low from the prior day. So that basically signifies we are likely going to come back and test it because we closed below it yesterday. We have not tested it yet. So maybe it's going to be the news that will induce a push up, or maybe the news just basically pushes it down, basically traps some of the lower level shorts, and then we start coming back up. Keep in mind though, if you're a conservative trader, then if price is below value area low, you want to stay on the sell side. But this is going to be where the overnight volume profile levels are going to come into play, which we'll talk about here in just a bit. I want to make everybody aware, Apex 7 a massive 80% sale off all their valuation accounts, past in as little as 1 day. And you can also get a 150K account for only $40. You get a 250K account for only $40. And you get a 300K account for only $40. So if you want to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below and use the promo code Mike at checkout. Now, when we take a look at the SPY, we see we're up 63 cents on the session. Yesterday, having that bearish engulfing type of day. Now, when we look, I want you guys to pay close attention to some of the high volume areas. First one being about 547.91. The next one about 544.77. These could be areas of attraction, as this is where a lot of activity has taken place in the past, which means both buyers and sellers agree that this is fair value in the market. We also want to be on the lookout. If we get right here into this minus development area, and we start seeing signs that the market wants to pop back up, do not be the slightest bit surprised if we go ahead and rally from that area. Now, if we pull our Fibonacci retracement, swing low, up here to the swing high, notice right here around the 50% retracement comes right within the middle of the minus development area. So I'm going to be very keyed in on that level out here. Similar to what we talked about with the NASDAQ, we have a lowercase b as in boy shaped profile. We went down, we did nothing more than consolidate, and we look at value area high, that comes in about 557.51. Value area low will be down here at 555.98, and the point of control is roughly where we're at right now at 557.13. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to these minus development areas. I'm going to go ahead and draw this out. I want you guys to pay attention because if we start shooting up out here this morning, pay attention. One, this could act as a target location, magnet point. This could also be an area where we start to see rejections back down. Now, ideally, I'd like to see the market come up here, go ahead, reject, take out the lows, and then come back up, because then you would wreck the shorts, the lower level shorts originally. And then as it starts going up and then turns back down, you wreck the bulls. And then as it comes back down, you wreck them again. So again, you cause the most amount of pain to the most amount of traders. Then we'll see if it wants to go ahead and rally up and maybe test the highs and maybe come back and test all-time highs. Come over and look at the S&P futures markets. What do we see? Well, we still have this untested value area high that doesn't look very likely to get tested today. You can see yesterday we had that big nasty candle down, and now we're just slowly consolidating around that area. Now, one thing to note is if we can get above the edge of this distribution area, then I'd look for the market to maybe pop all the way back up. And what would be crazy is if we made it all the way back up towards 56.84, that would have all the shorts out there just absolutely kicking and screaming. We come over and look at the daily profiles. You can see we do have a point of control below us at 5625.50. Keep an eye on that level. We'll see, does the news induce a knee-jerk reaction down and then we go up, or are we going to simply push into this minus development area and then we reject back down? Let's not forget, we also have a structure breakdown level as well, candle wick to the candle body. If we can clear this level here and we clear above value area high, this is going to be an area. This will be an additional target I would want to focus on. To be honest with you, I kind of love to see the market rally all the way back up. Then we can see if we can set another trap and play the move back down once again. All right, so we got some economic news out this morning. The core PPI came in a little bit hot, 0.4 versus 0.2, previously 0.3. We also see the month over month rose greater than forecasted as well. When we look at what the market did, basically broke down, hit the point of control, went ahead and ran the stops, and now it's heading up to where that minus development area that we talked about. Now, I would have preferred us to see us hit that level first before ultimately coming down. We see the NASDAQ did the same thing. It swept the lows, now trying to run on the way back up. So is today going to be a bullish day out here in the stock market? Now, when we come over and look at the overnight volume profile levels, we have value area low coming in at 20,415.75. We have the point of control coming at 20,430.25. Value area high will come in at 20,443.25. So as long as we're above value area high, well, guess what? I want to target yesterday's value area low. I then want to target this minus development area that we talked about. If we start clearing the minus development area, I want to see, can we make it up towards the secondary minus development area up above us? Then as we come over and look at the S&P 500, we can see that value area low comes in at 5637.75. The point of control will come in at 5641.25. Value area high will come in at 5642.75. So you know the routine. As long as we're above value area high, then guess what? I'm looking for higher prices. Where might that be? That minus development area we talked about earlier. Then anything above that, I want to target the value area high. Then the other high probability target was that structure breakdown. And we'll see if we can come all the way back up there, recapturing that. Keep in mind, yesterday we had good news come out and the market sold off. Today, the PPI data was not that good. Could the market potentially rally, or are we going to see the 10 o'clock news item deflate what little bit of a rally we're starting to get right now and send stocks back lower? Now, if you guys want to learn how to use Bookmap to find high probability trades, watch this video right here.